Dynamic blessings. Welcome to the Synergistic Edge, where high performers win everywhere. It's me, your host, Alvey Thompson Jr. And I'm really excited about this episode today because this could be the one thing that could help you achieve all of your goals physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, if you allow yourself to really work on this. What if I told you that there is one thing that can improve your decision making? It can improve your hormones. It can improve your energy levels, your mood, how your body looks, and it doesn't even cost a dime. If this was available for you, would you take advantage of it? Would you do it? You're probably wondering, what is this thing that can improve all aspects of my life, but it's also free? And I'll tell you what, you do this thing every single day. And what this thing is your sleep. But here's the problem. So many executives, business owners, entrepreneurs, you name it, skip optimizing their sleep because they have these different reasons of why they think it's not possible. They either think they don't have time to go to sleep. Maybe you don't think that you have the proper setup to get good sleep in. Or maybe you say, hey, the only time I get my own me time is late at night. And for that reason, I sacrifice some hours of my sleep. But here lies the problem. You might have heard the saying, you can't out-train a bad diet, which is true. But something that's even more true than that is that you can't out-diet bad sleep. Meaning, if you have very specific body goals, you want to put on muscle, you want to lose fat, if you're not sleeping properly, you're not going to be able to optimize that. Say you want to have better energy day in and day out. It's not about getting better supplements. It's not even about only eating better. Those things are important, but they pale in comparison of great recovery. And the foundation of great recovery is getting great sleep. So what I want to do in this episode is introduce you to what I call the executive sleep protocol. And I want to go over some of the problems that are out there that are probably stopping you from getting the sleep that you want, and also walk you through how you can change your mindset and your perspective around sleep to ensure that you create the opportunity to get great sleep in every day so that you can reach your goals more effectively and more efficiently. So let's get ready to dive in. I want you to think for a moment. When was the last time in your life when you were getting consistent good sleep? Was it in your 30s, in your 20s, when you were a teenager? I want you to go back to when this time was. And I want you to think about how were your energy levels during this time? Because what I'll venture to say is if you were getting good sleep at any part of your life, your energy levels and your mood during that time were probably as good as it's ever been. And I get it. We live in a society right now that really tries to praise hard work and within that, sacrificing our sleep in order to achieve at a high level. And why I'll be the first one to tell you that it's all about wanting to achieve at a high level. Let me tell you that you can do that and get good rest in the process. And I would even dare to say that if you do sleep really well, you're actually going to achieve at a higher level because we're not machines. We're human beings and we were made to work really hard and then rest and recover just as hard as we work. But the problem is in our society, and I know for me growing up, it was this whole idea of being team no sleep, wearing a badge of honor because I am sacrificing my sleep each and every night in the pursuit of better performance. And I'll tell you this, you can only go so long without getting great sleep because the more and more you do it, the more and more your body starts to break down. And you probably feel it yourself. If you find that you don't have the energy to get through the entire day at a high level, your sleep's probably not where it should be. If you find that you're pretty irritable day in and day out, your energy is not where it should be. However, if you focus on getting better sleep, getting better rest, getting better recovery in, it's going to make all aspects of your life better. And I'm not going to sit here and say that it's just this quick snap of the fingers, really easy to do. However, there are many ways to dial it in, no matter what you have going on in life. You might say, oh, Alvey, but when I stay up late, the reason why I stay up late is because that's the only time I can create me time for myself because I have so many work responsibilities. And then when I get home, I have so many family responsibilities that the only time I get to myself is once the kids are asleep, and that's that. And while that's probably true, and I'll never deny that, you can still have some time for yourself in the evening and still great sleep and still get great sleep in. The problem is, what are you doing with that me time at night? Are you constantly scrolling? Do you constantly have a bunch of blue light that's in your face? Are you watching TV that's getting you too amped up, too excited that now it makes it difficult to go to sleep? If any of these things are happening during your me time, you're not going to be able to wake up refreshed. And if you're not waking up refreshed, you're definitely not performing as well as you could be. Let alone, you're not giving your body the resources that it needs to properly recover from a tough training session. You're not giving your body or your brain the resources it needs from a full day of critical thinking. However, if you do prioritize your sleep, all of those things are going to get better. Or maybe you're the type of person that doesn't get a lot of sleep because you feel like if you sleep, that's taken away from the time that you can be getting specific tasks done. Whether these are answering emails, completing a project at work, or it's doing some of the chores at home, whatever it may be. If you're telling yourself that you are sacrificing time by going to sleep, you got it backwards. Because here's the thing, if you get more sleep, when it is time to do those tasks, you're actually going to do them more effectively. You're going to do them more efficiently. You're going to get them done faster than you would have with a lack of sleep. And there's some common symptoms that you might be experiencing. And this is how you would know if you're not getting great, consistent sleep. One of them is slower decision making. Do you find that nowadays you don't make decisions as fast or as sharply as you did when you were in your younger 30s or even your 20s? Do you find that you're more irritable on a day-to-day basis with your colleagues at work, with your employees, or even with your family at home? Do you find that you consistently have cravings for coffee, caffeine, other stimulants, or sugary snacks? If that's the case, you're probably not getting great sleep. You're tired, and your body needs something to kick it up so that it can get to work. Have you noticed a lot of body composition changes in the wrong direction? No matter how well you're eating or how much you're exercising, you feel like that stubborn body fat around your midsection is not going anywhere. Do you feel like you're not putting on the muscle that you think you should be based off of all the work that you're doing? Well, guess what? If that's going on, that is a telltale sign that you're not getting enough sleep in. And finally, do you find yourself running on fumes? Do you find that you're always at your wit's end, that you are struggling to get things done moment to moment, hour to hour, day to day, week to week because you are so fatigued? Again, your body's not a machine. You need to have recovery. And if you're constantly running on fumes, that means you are not recovering properly. And finally, if you have this idea that you can sacrifice sleep and you're going to catch up on the weekend, I want you to know that the science shows that this is not possible. You can't catch up on sleep. You don't incur this sleep debt and then you're able to pay it back. What you're actually doing is you're robbing yourself of tomorrow's energy today by not getting enough rest and recovery in. So before we go into the nitty gritty of what it looks like to apply all of this into your life as a executive, lawyer, business owner, overall high performer, I want to provide you with a case study of my former client, Dave. Dave, just like you, high achiever. He was the 2024 Michigan Principal of the Year, father of two, husband, runs the school as a principal. So he has a bunch of people that are always counting on him. And he was also upset with how his physical body was looking and performing. He was the type of person that went to the gym multiple times a week. He thought he was eating clean, yet he wasn't creating the results that he was looking for. And one of the first things that we did working together was assess his sleep schedule. And what I found out is that he was sacrificing way too much sleep. And that was a huge reason why he wasn't getting the results that he wanted. The way this would look is that he would go to bed around 11:30, sometimes even midnight, but he was waking up at 4:45 in the morning in order to make it to a 5:30 a.m. training class. So basically, he was getting anywhere from 4.5 to 6 hours of sleep each day. And I told him, I'm like, Dave, the first thing we got to fix is your sleep. And in order to do that, I need you to, at least for now, stop going to the morning classes. And at first, that kind of threw him off. He didn't think that the sleep was such a huge aspect of it. And that's something I had to educate him on. And I had to let him know that his hormones were suffering as a result of this. All of that hard work that he was doing in the gym, he wasn't getting the payoff from it because he wasn't recovering enough. And that the first way that we were going to maximize his results is by getting his sleep in order and also getting his food in order. And after explaining this and after he fully dived into the program, these were his results. Number one, he lost 20 pounds of fat, not 20 pounds overall, 20 pounds of fat, and he dropped his body fat percentage 7%, went from around 27% body fat to 20% body fat. And again, none of this would have been possible if he wasn't getting his sleep in order. And now he went from sleeping anywhere from 4.5 to 6 hours to closer to 7 to 8 hours each and every day. And now he understands how big of a role his sleep plays in his performance, in looking the way that he wants to look, and overall being the best version of himself. So, what I want to do here is really go into what we did with Dave's program and how we can incorporate the executive sleep protocol for you as well. The first thing I want you to understand is that elite performers treat their sleep in the same way that they treat revenue. They make it non-negotiable. If you're running a business, you understand how important your revenue is. And I want you to think about your sleep as the same way. It is a non-negotiable. You have to pour into your sleep in order to get the results that you want to get. A second standard is that we make bedtime a non-negotiable, meaning we work to have a consistent bedtime and wake up time day in, day out. Because here's the thing. If you're trying to have a good, because here's the thing. If you have an inconsistent bedtime, say you do a good job of going to bed at 11 p.m. Sunday through Thursday, but then Friday and Saturday, you're going to bed at midnight or even 1 a.m., you're literally treating your body as if it's switching time zones. That's a 2-hour time difference between what you're doing 5 days a week and the other 2 times. And as a result, your body suffers. You don't recover well. Your hormones go for a dip. You're going to put on body weight. You're not going to slim down, all because your sleep is not standardized. So something that I always focus on with my clients is creating a regular window where you're sleeping at the same time and you're waking up at the same time, regardless of it's the weekdays or the weekend. And then the third shift I want you to make is understanding that getting good sleep is not lazy. You are not sacrificing all of these different tasks and things that you need to do on a daily basis, whether at work or at home, because you're getting in more sleep. You're actually understanding that there is a huge ROI on great sleep, because when you do get great sleep in, you're more recovered, you're more rested, and now you have more energy to take on each and every day. So understand, the standard is all about treating sleep like it really matters, getting a regular wake up time and sleep time, and making sure that you understand that sleep gives you the biggest ROI on your performance, on how you look and how you feel. Now I want to take a little bit of time of going into the biology of sleep. Understand, like I said before, you're not a machine. And as human beings, we use what are called ultradian rhythms, meaning there are different types of energy output that we have throughout the day, depending on how much output we put out, and then also how much recovery we're putting in. Not to mention, we also have our circadian rhythm, which are our sleep-wake cycles that dictate how much energy we have to get things done. The problem is, too many of you see yourself as a machine, and you think that you can just put in an infinite amount of work at an infinitely high rate of performance without needing to do any type of rest or recovery. But that couldn't be further from the truth. I want you to use the analogy of a cell phone. Each and every night, you plug in your cell phone after you used it all day and the battery percentage is low, so that you can use it again at a high level the next day. Your body is just like this cell phone. You need to recharge your battery. Because here's what happens. By not getting a good night of sleep, say you're only sleeping 4, 5, 6 hours consistently, that's like waking up every day with your battery at 50%. Now, I want you to imagine the level of anxiety that you would have if your cell phone battery was always at 50% as a max. And then you only had that 50% battery to use throughout the entire day to do all the things that you do on the phone. Before you know it, your battery percentage is at 20, then it's at 10, and now you're probably freaking out because you're thinking your phone's going to die, you're not going to be able to use it, and you're scrambling trying to find a charger. Understand, your body is the same thing. If you're constantly starting each day at 50%, by the time you start your day and you're getting rolling, your battery percentage is just going down and down and down and down. And what does that mean? It means that you're tired. It means that you can't do regular tasks as fast as you would if you were rested. That means you're not able to be present with your family, friends, kids, whoever, because you are so tired. It means that you're not able to get all the things done that your life requires of you as a high performer. So what you need to do is allow your body to get that full charge at night. And you do that by getting 7 to 8 hours of sleep every night. And here's the thing. I love the book Why We Sleep by Matthew Walker. If you get a chance, pick that book up. Goes into so many amazing statistics in terms of why our sleep is so important and gives a lot of tangible ways that we can improve upon, some of which I'm going to talk about in a little bit. But I want to dive into some of the research that I have here for you from Matthew Walker's book. Number one, your testosterone drops by 10 to 15% after just 1 week of sleeping 5 hours per night. That's the equivalent of aging 10 to 15 years hormonally. And we're talking about the hormone that drives muscle mass, cognitive sharpness, motivation, and libido. Stat number two, your cortisol spikes. Your body thinks that you're under threat, so it stays in stress mode. That means that you're holding on to body fat, especially around your midsection, no matter how clean you're eating or how hard you're training. Again, when we wake up in the morning, our cortisol rises. That's what wakes us up. But if your cortisol is up all the time, that means by the time the night comes, you are not getting the melatonin production that you need to fall asleep and stay asleep. So it's so important that we do understand the role that our cortisol plays here. The third stat, your insulin sensitivity drops by 30%. That means your body can't process carbohydrates effectively, which leads to blood sugar crashes, energy volatility, and eventually can lead to type 2 diabetes. Again, your blood sugar regulation is dictated by your sleep. So it's so important that you're getting enough sleep so that you're regulating your resting blood glucose levels, and ultimately you are metabolizing carbohydrates and food overall in an effective way. And fourth, your cognitive performance declines. After 17 to 19 hours of being awake, your cognitive impairment is equivalent to a blood alcohol level of 0.05%. And after 24 hours, is up to 0.10%, which is the equivalent of being legally drunk. And yet, most of my clients who are making $1 million decisions each and every day don't understand how much they're hurting their cognitive performance because of their lack of sleep. They're doing this each and every day, and I would imagine that you might be doing this as well. And the last point I want to touch on is this idea that you can catch up on sleep on the weekends. I hear all the time from different high performers like, Alvey, like I know I don't sleep well, during the week, but I end up catching up on the weekends. The truth is, no, you don't. There is no catching up on your sleep debt. If you're not getting good sleep, you can't simply catch up on the weekends. This debt just increases, and then your weekends end up being about survival mode instead of actually being able to fully recover. This directly correlates to one of my HOS moves. HOS is an acronym that I use. It's a high output sustainable system for success. So these HOS moves fall under each of my pillars of the synergistic method. And the specific HOS move I want to talk about today is to sleep like your life depends on it. What I want you to understand is something that I tell all of my clients, and it's that your body and your mind are your biggest assets. Your body and your mind is utilized in every single thing that you do in the workplace and at home. And one of these house moves that's so important is that you sleep like your life depends on it, because your sleep is so critical of getting the most out of your body and out of your brain. But here's the thing. If you're not making your recovery, and more specifically your sleep, a priority, then you are literally letting your most precious asset depreciate, because you're not allowing it the time and the resources to recover properly. There are 4 specific standards within this Haas move. The first one is that you're aiming for 7 to 8 hours of consistent sleep each and every night. The second one is ensuring that you're having minimal wake ups in the middle of the night. The third is that you're waking up refreshed. And the fourth is that you're having consistent sleep and wake times. If you're able to dial in those 4 things, you are going to get great sleep and you're going to feel super refreshed each and every day. So with that being said, let's go into the executive sleep protocol. In order to have a great night of sleep, it actually starts with great preparation before you go to sleep. So here's the standard that I like to set with my clients. Ideally, you're starting that wind down process no later than 9:30 p.m. so that you're giving yourself a full hour to get into bed by 10:30 p.m. That means that you are physically in bed, lights off at 10:30, not that you're just starting to get ready to get to sleep at 10:30. And the whole idea is that if you're in bed by 10:30 p.m., that you will be asleep latest by 11 o'clock. Now, there's some specific reasons why we want to get to bed by 10:30. Depending on when you go to sleep, that's going to dictate if you're going to get the full recovery that your body and your brain needs. And now, when I talk about this recovery that we get from sleep, it's not just the physical body recovery, but it's understanding that your brain has a certain recovery that it needs as well. And when you do get to sleep on time by 10:30, you're giving yourself, one, the best opportunity to get the amount of growth hormone secreted that you need at night, and you're allowing your brain to recover properly. Once we got your wind down routine going and you're asleep at the proper time, the second thing we want to focus on is having a consistent wake time. We want this to be consistent every single day. It doesn't matter if it's the weekdays or the weekend. We don't want to separate them. We want this wake up time to be consistent throughout the day. Like I said earlier, if you are not consistently going to sleep at the same time and waking up at the same time, your body literally treats it like it's jet lag. And if you've ever been jet lagged before, you know how miserable that can be and how long it can take to get back into a good rhythm. So by going to sleep consistently at the same time and waking up consistently at the same time, you're putting yourself in a position to be fully recovered, have more energy, and ultimately be able to crush your day. So to give you an example, I want to talk to you about my wind down protocol. So typically I'm done working, eating, all of that, roughly around 7:30. And the first thing I like to do is turn on my sauna and get into my sauna. And I love the sauna for about an hour, 45 minutes, depending on how much time I have. And while I am saunaing, I'll be going through my schedule for the next day so that I am mentally prepared and I'm not taking any thoughts with me into bed. After I get out of the sauna, it's usually somewhere between 8:30 to 8:45. I'll go ahead and rehydrate. I'll take my shower. I'll do all of my nighttime stuff, brush my teeth, all that good stuff, pray, get into bed. And by that time, it's usually roughly 9:30, 9:45. Depending on how tired I am or not, I usually like to read a little bit while I'm in bed, get a couple chapters in of whatever book that I'm reading. And after a little bit of time, I get pretty drowsy and I go to sleep. Now, that's my specific wind down routine, but I want you to think about what it could look like for you. The first thing you want to focus on is making sure that you're completely off of your screens at worst 60 minutes before you're planning on getting into bed. Why that is so important is because your body reacts to the blue light on your phone, on your tablet, or on your computer, or even your TV as the same light that the sun is. Meaning, if you're looking at any of these screens, your body is not getting the signal that it's time to go to bed. It's actually thinking that it is daytime, and as a result, you're supposed to stay up. So if you think about that, doesn't it make sense that it's hard for you to go to bed if you're staying on your screens all through the night? So the number one thing that you want to do is put the screens away within an hour of going to bed. And if you have to be on a screen for some odd reason, you want to get some blue light blocking glasses or get a full filter over your phone that is a red light that allows you to produce melatonin, which is the hormone that the body requires to get tired and go to bed. In addition to getting off of your screens, you want to make sure that you dim the lights down. If your home is like most people's homes, your house is filled with fluorescent lights that, again, are the blue lights that your body thinks is daytime. So we want to dim the lights so the body understands that, hey, it is time to unwind. It is time to get tired. It is time to produce melatonin and go to bed. And the third thing I recommend is 10 to 20 minutes of some type of activity that allows you to decompress. This could be praying, this could be meditating, this can be journaling, this could be stretching, anything that's going to allow your body and mind to wind down. If you're the type of person that constantly has your mind racing in the evening and makes it hard to go to sleep, you want to do all that you can to let your mind slow down. Let it relax going into bed so that you're not thinking so much while you're there. Another activity that I love, especially for you, if you're the type of person that has their mind racing at night or while you're in bed, is to journal. And some of the key things that you can do when you journal are the following. Number one, write down whatever your major tasks are for the next day. When you write these things down onto paper, you are taking it out of your mind, putting it on the paper, and it's allowing your mind to relax and not have to carry it with it into bedtime. You can also journal on what your top 3 commitments are for the following day. What are the big meetings or tasks that you have? And ultimately write down anything that's on your mind and let it get off of your mind and into the paper, because it's going to allow your body and your mind to relax that much better and get to sleep faster. Here are some things I don't want you to do during your wind down process. Don't be answering emails. Don't be having work conversations. No planning or problem solving. Nothing that's going to take up a lot of brain power. Don't want you to be doing any emails, no Slack, and definitely no news or stressful content that's going to get you all riled up before bed. Remember, this hour to hour and a half before you go to sleep is all about calming your nervous system down. You've already done so much during the entire day that you're going to be riled up. And because of that, you need to decompress and slow yourself down so that your nervous system is relaxed and can get to sleep easier. And the last thing I want you to focus on is your sleep environment. You want to make sure that your sleep environment has 3 things. Number one, it is dark. It should be pitch black inside of your room. So you want to make sure the doors are closed, there's no light seeping through. You have blackout shades. If you have any little technology that's on, any little tiny green lights or blue lights, you can put some black electrical tape over those things so that light isn't shining through. And if need be, you can wear a sleep mask to really ensure that the environment is dark. The second thing you want to ensure is that your environment is cold. Most of the science shows anywhere from 65 to 68 degrees Fahrenheit is great to keep the room temperature cold. And the reason why this is so important is that in order to get to sleep, you need your body temperature to drop. And you need a cold room in order for the body temperature to drop. If you're the type of person that has ever woken up sweaty in the middle of the night, it's because your body temperature is too hot. Your environment is too hot, and hence you will not stay asleep. So you want to make sure that you have a cold environment throughout your night so that you're able to stay asleep and not have any type of midnight wake ups. And the third thing I want you to focus on when it comes to your sleep environment is that it is quiet. Any type of audible disturbances can kick you up out of your sleep. So how do you make your environment quieter? You can use white noise if that's something that works really well for you, or you can use earplugs to ensure that you're not hearing anything in your environment. As long as you have a quiet environment, a cool environment, and a dark environment, you are putting yourself in the best position to not only get to sleep, but to stay asleep through the night. So from here, I want to talk about some common obstacles that my clients have shared with me and other people have shared with me during my time doing this work. The first one is that I can't fall asleep even when I go to sleep early. And the reason why this is honestly, it takes your body some time to get used to changing its sleep environment and changing the sleep time. If you've been the type of person that goes to sleep around midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning, 11 o'clock, whatever it may be, and now you're trying to move that time back 1, 2, 3 hours, understand it's going to take some time to get there. And what I want you to do is still get into that wind down routine, get into bed early, but give yourself a couple of weeks for your body to get used to this process because it is undergoing something that is very different. And when you are changing, change requires time. And this is why the wind down routine is so important because when you start the wind down routine, as you start to get into a better rhythm of this thing, your body's actually going to start getting tired the moment you start your routine. That's what I find all the time with my clients and with myself. When I'm getting ready for the sauna, sometimes I'm in that sauna and I'm almost ready to fall asleep because I've been doing that for so long. My body understands, oh, it's sauna time. Let's start producing some more melatonin because it's almost time to go to sleep. So for you, give it some time, but understand that you're going to start to feel yourself get to sleep, or excuse me, to get sleepy earlier because of your wind down process. And if for some reason you find that after a week or two or three, you're not able to fall asleep, one of the big things I do want you to do is to get out of your bed, go into another room, make sure it's still dark there, maybe carry a portable red light with you, and find a book to read because you want your body to associate your bed with sleep. And if you're tossing and turning in bed and you're just flopping around all night, your body is going to start to think, oh, okay, like the bed is a place where I just sit there and toss and turn, as opposed to knowing that it is a place strictly for sleep. So, next time you find yourself having a hard time going to sleep or it's hard getting to sleep in this process, after 15, 20 minutes, go ahead and get up out of the bed, go into another room, make sure it's still dark, carry a red light with you, start to read. And I guarantee you, within 10 to 15 minutes of reading, you're going to find yourself getting super tired and then go back into the bed and watch how you end up falling asleep. A second obstacle I always hear is that I wake up at 3, 4 a.m. and I can't get back to sleep. Again, this is another time where it's super important that you don't just lie there when you wake up. Once you find that you can't go back to sleep, get out of bed, go into another room, start the reading process, and notice how after a few minutes, you should find yourself getting very tired, and that's your time to get back into the bed and go to sleep. A third obstacle I often hear is that, Alvey, I travel a ton, and because I travel, it makes it really difficult to get into a regular sleep rhythm. I agree. If you're traveling a lot, it's going to be harder, but it's not impossible. The first thing you want to do when you're traveling is make sure that you travel with an eye mask. Oftentimes, if you're staying somewhere, they don't have blackout curtains, a lot of light is getting through, there's a ton of electronics. Instead of trying to completely change that environment there, you're better off making sure that you have an eye mask that you can put on and also having earplugs so that you can ensure that it's quiet. And if you don't like earplugs, have white noise that you play in the background on your phone. That's going to help you get to sleep. Second thing you want to make sure is that the hotel room or the Airbnb that you're staying at, make sure that it is super cold. The colder, the better, 65 to 68 degrees. If you do that, you're going to get yourself to sleep and stay asleep longer. If you find when you travel that you're switching time zones, one of the best things that you can do is as quickly as you can, either once you get to the hotel or if you can do it beforehand, get outside and ground a little bit. I know it sounds woo-woo, but the faster that you can get your feet and your hands into some grass, onto some nature, your biological clock, your circadian rhythm is going to start to sync up with the place that you're actually at. So that's great for when you're switching time zones. You want to make sure that you can ground as quickly as possible. And the last thing I recommend while you're traveling is the next day when you wake up, work to get sunlight into your eyes as quickly as possible. Go outside, no sunglasses on. Make sure that you're able to get some sun into your eyes. Don't look directly at the sun, but be able to get outside, breathe, chill out for a little bit, take your coffee with you outside, and be able to, again, reset your circadian rhythm to be in sync with the place that you're at. And the fourth obstacle usually has to do with family. Oh, Alvey, my spouse and I, we have different sleep schedules. That's fine. It's part of the whole thing, right? So if you and your spouse have a different sleep schedule, it is still important that you control your schedule and not necessarily try to control theirs. Still make sure that you're getting to sleep early. making sure that you're following your wind down process. And I would even invite you to invite your spouse into your wind down process, because even if they identify as being a night owl, they could probably use getting better sleep too. And if you're trying to sync up your schedules, that's great. But even if they are not willing to sync up schedules with you, you can still go about your wind down time, getting in the bed when you need to, and making sure that you have your eye mask on, white noise, earplugs, so that when they do get into bed, it's not as disruptive as it could be. And remember, the whole reason why you are focusing on this wind down process and getting to sleep early is because you understand that your health is a non-negotiable. You're not here to split hairs on it. You understand that you being well rested is a huge catalyst for you performing very well at work and for you being more present at home with your kids and with your spouse. So if you ever find that you're trying to be in some type of trade-off, or that you're just not able to get yourself to sleep because of your spouse, instead take ownership of it and understand that you getting to sleep and being well rested is going to allow you to be a better husband or a better wife, and also a better mother or father, not to mention a better leader at work. And the fifth and last obstacle that I'll talk about is when you have young kids. Again, if you have young kids, they're going to be going in the bed with you. They're going to be waking up in the middle of the night, maybe waking you up in the middle of the night. And again, this is something that you don't have direct control over. However, you can still do your best in getting to sleep at a regular time. If you're getting to sleep at 10 and they come in and wake you up at 2 in the morning, at least you've gotten 4 hours of sleep and a full sleep cycle before that. And even if something else happens and they wake you up, again, you have no control over that specific part happening, but you do have control over what time you do go to bed. And if you focus on that first, that's what's going to be most important. And the final thing I want to say about this, as you're incorporating this new sleep rhythm, getting to bed earlier, starting your wind down process, and ultimately sleeping better, you're going to mess up, right? The biggest place people mess up is by being impatient. It's not going to be perfect the first night. It's going to take time, but understand, over these first couple of weeks, maybe into the first month, month and a half, you're eventually going to get there. But the worst thing you can do is quit along the way. And as long as you don't quit, you're going to be successful. And I know I threw a lot of different things at you in terms of how you can go about doing this, but understand your body's a creature of habit. So there's going to be some resistance in creating these new things to help you sleep better, become more well rested. But you have to understand how important this is going forward, and allowing you to have the energy that you want, to be less irritable, be in a better mood, have a better body composition, and ultimately look, feel, and perform your best. Give it 2 to 3 weeks, give it its fair amount of time, and watch how your performance gets better when your sleep is better. What I want you to do right now is I want you to envision how life is going to be different as you are prioritizing great quality sleep. Some of the things you're going to notice in just the first 2 to 3 weeks is, one, you're going to wake up more rested. And when you start the day more rested, you're going to get so much more done. You're going to be so much more resilient. I know how it is when I'm tired. When I'm tired, it's just like those Snicker commercials when they say, what happens when you're hungry? I'm like that when I'm tired. When I'm tired, I'm not patient. I'm not performing as well as I could be. Every little thing could set me off. And it's for that reason that I focus on my sleep each and every day as best as I can. So notice in the first 2 to 3 weeks, if you do adopt this, you are going to be more well rested. Your energy is going to be more stable throughout the day, and you're definitely going to be less irritable. What you're going to notice in the first month is that you're going to feel a lot sharper. You're going to have better decision making. Your body composition is going to start to shift, and you're also going to be handling stress a lot better. Once you start getting into the first 3 to 6 months, your fat loss is going to accelerate. Your strength gains in the gym are going to improve. You're going to have faster recovery. And most of all, you're going to feel like yourself again. And if we were to really look at this from a long-term vision, imagine where you're going to be 10 years from now if you focus on your sleep from here on out. You are going to be that executive, that lawyer, that business owner who makes great decisions as you age. You're going to be that father or mother who is so present with their kids and their spouse. You're going to be that friend who is there and can actually be present and listen and be there to lend an ear when needed. But all of this only happens if you focus on your rest and recovery, especially your sleep, and you make it a non negotiable. And remember, this is a huge investment in yourself now and into the future. With every single great night of sleep that you get from here on out, you are putting yourself in position to have cognitive longevity and to essentially fight the early onset of Alzheimer's or dementia. Your metabolic health is going to be better. You're not going to be insulin resistant. You're going to be able to break down food that much more effectively because sleep plays such a huge role in that. Your cardiovascular health is going to be better. You have a better resting heart rate. You're going to have a lower blood pressure. Your heart health is directly correlated to how well you're sleeping. And finally, your hormone health is going to be better now and as you age. Testosterone is going to be better. Growth hormone is going to be higher. All of your stuff is going to be in better balance because you're giving your body and your mind the rest that it consistently needs. So by focusing on your sleep now, the 65-year-old version of you is going to be sharper, clearer, getting more done, more vibrant, more energetic, and stronger, all because you decided to sleep better right now. So to recap, sleep is not optional. This isn't a thing that you get to put to the side and get to later. Your sleep is paramount. It is fundamental. Understand, you can't out-train or out-diet bad sleep. So if you want to get a better body, if you want less fat, more muscle, be stronger, feel better, less aches and pains, dial in your sleep, make it a priority. As an elite performer, you are now understanding that your sleep is a non-negotiable. You make sure that you wind down 60 to 90 minutes before sleep. You make sure your head is on the pillow by 10:30 p.m. latest, and you're putting yourself in a great position to get at least 7 to 8 hours of quality sleep each and every night. You want to make sure that your sleep environment is dark, that your sleep environment is quiet, and that your sleep environment is nice and cold. I know I threw a lot of things at you. If you need to, just pick one thing. Pick one thing that you're going to do out of all the different options that I gave you in order to get better sleep. And if you need any ideas on how to better incorporate this into your lifestyle, shoot me a DM on Instagram at Alvey Thompson. I would be happy to help you with this. And I'm also going to have a executive sleep protocol worksheet that has all of this information on it, and it'll give you some prompts to work on yourself to see how can you incorporate this based off of your specific life. Because at the end of the day, I get it. You have things that are very specific to you, specific when it comes to your business, your family, your circumstances, all of it. But what this protocol is going to help you do is to implement it in your life in a way that makes sense and is sustainable. I appreciate your time. I appreciate you checking in on the executive sleep protocol. And by checking me out on the Synergistic Edge, stay dynamic, my friend. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. And I'll see you on the next one. Peace.